Hey guys, Garlic here with another 2004scape video for you. In today's video, I thought that we would go over all of the random events, which ones are in the game at the moment, which ones are coming in the future, some that got added and then removed that we might get to see as well. It should be pretty interesting, and we'll try and just go through and explain what they do and the rewards that you can get from each of them, just so everyone's aware of which ones that you can do currently, and then you can look out for the ones that should be coming in the near future. So for those that don't know, we'll just start off by saying random events were added as an anti-botting measure to replace the fatigue system from RuneScape Classic. If you didn't know, in RuneScape Classic there was a fatigue system to stop people botting, where you actually had to go to like an area and like rest to basically like restore your energy or whatever, and then you could continue playing the game again. Obviously, that was very tedious for players to do, so they changed to using random events instead when they got out of RuneScape Classic into RuneScape 2. And in 2004scape, and for quite a while actually, a lot of these random events were actually pretty dangerous and they can kill you. But obviously, if you do interact with them, then there is a bit of a reward for a lot of them that can make it worth doing. Sometimes they are just annoying and there's no reward at all, and I guess we'll start off with some of those. So we're going to go into the ones that you can get from basically skilling, but mainly from woodcutting, mining, and fishing first of all. So we'll kick it off with the Ent random event. The Ent basically will spawn when you're training your woodcutting. The tree you're cutting will turn into an Ent, and if you do not stop cutting the tree, it will just break your axe. If this happens to you, you'll need to take your axe to Bob's Axes in Lumbridge and pay a small fee to repair your axe. The bronze to steel axes, I believe he repairs for free, but anything over steel, you'll have to pay a small fee for. This can also happen when mining with an exploding rock, so you'll see like sort of smoke coming out of the rock that you're mining, and if you don't stop mining it, it will break your pickaxe, and you'll take some damage from this as well, so you could potentially die. And to repair your pickaxe, you'll need to take it to Nermoth in the Dwarven Mines, and again, pay a small fee to repair it. Bronze to steel, again, should be free. Anything after that, you'll have to pay. And then, similarly, the whirlpool can spawn on the fishing spot that you're using when you're training fishing, and if you don't stop fishing there, then basically your fishing net or your harpoon or your lobster cage or whatever you're using will just get sucked into the pool and would just be lost forever, and you'd have to go and buy another one. So they're very annoying ones. Definitely watch out for those if you are training those skills. It would just cause havoc basically if you're not paying attention. I would recommend for a lot of these, turn your game sounds on. Even if you turn the music off, leave the game sounds on, because there's usually some sort of like notification sound that will make you aware if you are AFKing any of those skills. Some more of the events that basically affect you during these skills but are a little less sort of intrusive are if you're woodcutting or mining, the head can fly off of your pickaxe or your axe, and you'll need to like go and pick it up. It should land like sort of near you. You have to pick it up and then use it on the handle of the tool that you were using, and then it will just sort of repair itself that way, and you can just carry on. If you don't notice when this happens, it can just despawn, and you'll either need to just replace the tool entirely, or you'll need to find someone else that like has a broken pickaxe head or whatever, and then use it on the handle to repair your tool there. So again, turn your in-game sounds on, because there is a noise for this, and if you're AFKing too much, you can just lose a rune pick or a rune axe, and they can be fairly expensive to replace if it keeps happening to you. Just a side note on this as well, this was also added to spades and rakes when farming was added, so you'd need to reattach the rake or the spade head to the handle. Obviously we don't have farming just yet, but when farming does get added, then you should expect to maybe lose some spade and rake heads as well while you're training farming, so look out for that. And kind of similarly as well, the big fish can spawn when you're training your fishing. It just randomly appears at the fishing spot, and if you don't stop fishing there when you see the big fish, it will take your fishing tool and it will spit it out on the ground nearby, so you'll have to go and pick it up again and use it. So those ones, not quite as bad as the Ent, the exploding rock, or the whirlpool, but still kind of annoying to have to deal with, and there's basically no rewards for any of those. It's just annoying basically, but they are kind of cool. It makes the game a little more interesting, I think. We can move on now to more random events that can spawn from these same three skills again, but these ones do have some form of reward for you. So we're going to talk about the rock golem, the tree spirit, and the river troll. So obviously when you're mining a rock golem can spawn and attack you. When you're woodcutting, you could get a tree spirit, and when you're fishing, you could get a river troll spawn. Now these will, the combat level of these things will scale depending on your combat level. I'll put something up on the screen now to show you, but basically like the lower level you are, the lower level they will be, and the lower their maximum hit on you will be as well. So if you're a low level, like you might be able to safe spot some of these and they're fairly quick to kill. When you're a high level, it becomes a lot more difficult to kill them. But you do get some sort of rewards from these, so you can actually kill them and they will drop items. So it depends on the combat level of them for some of them. So for the rock golem, if the rock golem is a low level rock golem, which is level 14 to 79, it can drop 5 earth runes, 42 earth runes, 2 chaos runes, 1 bronze bar, 1 iron ore, 1 tin ore, 1 copper ore, a dwarven stout, and a hammer. If the rock golem is a high level, so if it's level 120 or 159, it can drop all of the low level drops, but it could also drop a bronze pick, an adamant pick, a rune pick, a coal ore, a mithril ore, an iron bar, an addy ore, a rune ore, or it can also drop things that are on the gem drop table. The tree spirit can drop a mithril axe, a steel axe, an addy axe, a rune axe, 22 nature runes, 10 nature runes, 5 nature runes, 2 nature runes, a banana, a knife, a random herb, or something on the gem drop table. This was the way that people were getting their rune axes in free-to-play. It was kind of, you would hope for a tree spirit to spawn so you could kill it and hopefully get a rune axe. But the rune axes aren't that expensive anymore, so I think a lot of people just ignore these most of the time, but there are some rewards there to get if you take the time to kill them. And finally, the river troll as well. It can drop raw swordfish, shark, pike, salmon, sardine, herring, tuna. It can drop fishing bait in lots of different quantities. It can drop some feathers, oysters, caskets. It can drop a fishing potion. If you kill it in free-to-play, though, it will drop nothing. All of those drops are members drops, so if you kill it in free-to-play, it won't drop anything at all. Just run away from it, I would recommend, if you're staying in a free-to-play world. Now, similarly to these creatures that spawn for those skills, if you're training your prayer by burying bones, you have a chance to spawn a shade or a zombie. These have a chance of spawning every time you gain prayer XP, so every bone you bury gives you like a roll, I guess, on whether or not you'll get a shade or a zombie random event. These also scale with your combat level, so they'll be harder the higher level you are. And the shade can drop the shade robe top and robe bottoms, and the zombie can drop big bones, air runes, chaos runes, cosmic runes, fishing bait, dragon bones if on a member's world, and also has access to the gem drop table as well. So the zombie actually can be kind of cool. I've killed a couple of them and I've got I think I got 50 chaos runes off it once, and then I got like a bunch of noted big bones, or not noted, just a bunch of big bones. So they can be kind of maybe worth it depending on your combat level, depending on how quickly you can kill them. But those are sort of like the prayer training random events. And that means we can move on to, there's a couple of events that spawn for when you're training the thieving skill. So the first one we'll talk about is the watchman. So the watchman can spawn whenever you're thieving from a stool. I think it might also be able to spawn when you're pickpocketing as well. And he will basically just start attacking you. This guy was like not very well liked when it first came out because he seems to just like kill you very quickly. And like if you're just not paying attention, you could just look back at your screen and be dead very, very fast. But if you do manage to kill the watchman, he could drop 3 death runes, 3 lore runes, 8 nature runes, 50 water runes, 22 body runes, 2 to 105 GP, herbs, 1 to 3 steel bars, has access to the gem drop table, could also drop coal, a mithril medium helm, and a steel sword. So I guess you could kill him if you wanted to. I think most people are just going to run away, but that is the watchman. Be on the lookout for that if you're training your thieving, especially if you're at a low level, because it will start shredding you very quickly. Another thieving random event that I've found in the code, I've not seen too much mention of this happening. I don't know if people have been having them yet, but there is a chance that when you're thieving a chest, it will poison you. Like you'll see like a little green like poison cloud or whatever come out of the chest, and it will disappear if you run up to 10 tiles away. So just watch out for that. I've not heard anyone talk about this yet, but I looked in the code and it is there. So I guess, yeah, poison chest is something to be on the lookout for. Another random event that can spawn that we already have in the game is the swarm. Probably one of the most annoying random events. It will just spawn like a swarm of flies, and they will just keep hitting you for like 1 to 2 damage. You can't kill them. You just need to run away and get it to stop attacking you. I think in 2005, the attack option on this was actually removed completely because it's not possible to kill it. And I think it just doesn't have a drop table anyway. So these are really annoying. I'm sure you've all ran into these already. Hate these, but I mean, it's authentic. It's kind of fun seeing them in the game, and especially if you see someone else AFKing and they've got some good items, maybe you sit there and wait for them to maybe go down to the swarm. But let's move on to some of the random events that give a few more rewards here. So first of all, we're going to go over the genie. This is a big one. Everyone loves the genie. Everyone's favorite random event, obviously. So it will appear, and if you talk to it, it will give you an XP lamp, and that XP lamp can be used to get 10 times your level in XP for any skill. So, if you have like 30 Herblore and you use a lamp on it, you'll get 300 Herblore XP. They're super, super nice for training those skills that you don't really like training. You just go train a bunch of other stuff, and slowly you get lamps over time, and you can just lamp those skills up. Very, very nice. The problem with the genie in 2004scape is that if you ignore the genie, it will either teleport you to a random location, or he will scatter all of your items in your inventory all over the floor. So do not ignore genies, first of all, because you're missing out on a bunch of free XP. Second of all, because he can just teleport you random places or just drop all of your items on the floor. So that could be very, 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 very bad depending on what you're holding on to. I think some people might have been sat in Varrock West Bank with like a bunch of items and their cash stack on them, not noticed the genie spawn because everyone's spamming in there, and then just all their stuff just gets dropped all over the floor, and then it's hard to tell where it all is because there's so many people there. So be very careful with genies. They can cause a lot of pain. The next one we're going to talk about is the strange plants. These ones are kind of interesting. They're also kind of annoying as well. So a plant will start growing out of the floor, and you need to wait for it to finish growing. This is probably one of the most annoying parts of it because it takes so long to grow. You see it spawn, and you're just sitting there spam clicking, and it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. But eventually, when you do pick it, you will get a strange fruit. If you ignore the plant, then it will grow legs and it can move around and it will attack you and it will poison you. So they are very dangerous. But the strange fruit is actually quite useful because it does restore run energy, and this is the only way to restore run energy in the game until energy potions get added later on. So they're pretty good to stack up for that if you'd like them. And I believe they also cure poison when you eat them as well. So pretty cool item to get. Obviously, you can't really farm them very well, but definitely do not ignore the strange plant because you will get attacked and poisoned and it will not be fun. Next up on the list, though, we are going to mention that the Drunken Dwarf, everyone's drunken short friend, he will spawn, ask you to speak to him, and if you speak to him, he will give you a beer and a kebab. I feel like he's kind of annoying because, I never really have any need for beers and kebabs. Maybe if I'm training melee and I'm getting low on food, I'll take the kebab, but the beers I always end up dropping. But if you do ignore him, he will just start attacking you. I've seen a few people die to Drunken Dwarves. So just be on the lookout for him. He will hit you and kill you if you do not respond. Another one that's sort of a bit like the genie in that can have very nice rewards, but can also be a bit of a pain if you ignore him, is the mysterious old man. So he will just spawn and talk to you, and if you reply to him, he will give you a casket, and that casket can contain coins, an uncut sapphire, a kebab, an uncut emerald, a spinach roll, an uncut ruby, a cosmic talisman, which could be nice, an uncut diamond, and it can also get the tooth and loop halves of the crystal key, which are very, very big items to get from a mysterious old man. If you're in a free-to-play world, he will only give you kebabs, spinach rolls, or coins, or a casket with a gem in it. He won't give you any of the other rewards. And if you ignore him, he will note everything in your inventory and then teleport you to a random location, which can be terrifying if you're not expecting it. So again, just watch out for that. Make sure you respond to him. You get a chance at those key halves if you do talk to him. So you really do want to be interacting with a lot of these random events if possible. Now, I think we've covered every single random event that is currently in the game, so I thought I'd go over some of the ones that are coming out sort of in the future. The ones I'm going to cover in a bit more detail are the ones that are going to be coming out in 2004 still that we've not seen yet, and then we'll move on and we'll just sort of briefly go over ones that are a bit later. So the next sort of random event that gets added, well, actually, this is a bit of a strange one, right? Because this random event was actually added on the 6th of April 2004. So it technically has already been added, but it was also removed on exactly the same day because it was just that bad. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, we are talking about the Tangle Vine. So this was added and removed on the 6th of April 2004, and basically what would happen is a vine would spawn on the floor underneath you, and it would damage you if you tried to run away. So obviously, if you see something spawn under you like that, your instinct is to just run, because you don't know what it does. But if you stay still, you'd be okay. If you ran, it would damage you, and it would just keep hitting you until you died, basically. It would also spread out and affect multiple people at once. And it was just a terrible, terrible random event. There's a couple of quotes here from some of the Jagex employees talking about it. So this is from Mod Mark. He said, the Tangle Vine was a random event that made it into the game for about 3 hours. If you moved, you would take damage. If you clicked on the screen, you would take damage. If you did nothing for 10 seconds, it would go away, because we knew that bots were programmed to move around and do certain things, and therefore they would kill themselves. Unfortunately, as a gamer, if something happens to you that you don't understand, your instant reaction is to move the hell away from it. We were keeping an eye on the forums on our phones, and we were like, this is a bit dangerous, isn't it? And Andrew Gower was like, right, I'm going back to the office, I'm fixing it, I'm taking it out of the game. So that's what he did. And then Ian Gower also talked about this because it would spawn on locations, and then wherever it would spawn, it would sort of replace the tile in that location. And then when it despawned, it would just delete the location tile that it was on. So, for example, he says, if it appeared on one of the piers in Port Sarim, it would spread across the piers, and then when it despawned, it would delete the pier tiles that it was on. So you just have whole chunks of the map that were missing. So this, I would have kind of liked to have seen for a day. I think it would have been very funny, but I can see why they removed it so quickly. Caused a lot of problems for people. I'll put a screenshot up here on the screen, obviously, of what it looks like. It looked kind of interesting, but it looked like it caused absolute chaos. So we won't be seeing that because it already technically came out and was removed before the time that we are at now. But the next couple of events that will be added fairly soon are going to be the Strange Box, the Maze, and the Mime. These were all added in August of 2004. And the Strange Box was quite an interesting one. So I believe it was the mysterious old man would spawn and give you a Strange Box. Or it might have just spawned in your inventory. But essentially, you would get this puzzle box, and it would ask you which shape contains which number. You'd have to sort of figure out the puzzle. And then if you did it successfully, you were rewarded with either coins, some gems, or a half key. If you ignored this event, it would just keep spawning more strange boxes, and it would slowly fill up your inventory. If it filled up your inventory, and you hadn't done anything with it yet, it would then start stacking them in your inventory as well. And if you tried to drop the box, if you tried to alch the box, if you tried to bank the box, it would just spawn more of them, basically just forcing you to complete this before you could do anything else. So this should be coming in the August 2004 update. I'm quite looking forward to these. I think they're going to be very interesting for people that don't know how they work, just being spammed like with loads of these strange boxes and not knowing what to do. But you do get a chance of getting a half key from them, which worth a fair bit of money right now. So that should be quite interesting to see. The next one, obviously, a lot of people know about the maze event. It's a very cool one. You speak to the mysterious old man when he spawns, and he will teleport you into the maze. And you've got to find your way to the center. And along the way, there are different chests that you can loot. And then there's a countdown of your reward potential. And if you've got to try and finish the maze as fast as possible, get to the center, and then you'll get the big reward. And the reward percentage will tick down the longer that you take. So basically, I'll put a formula up on the screen here of how it's decided, because there's different rewards you can get, but depending on how much reward potential you have left, there's a formula for working out how many of each item you will get given. So I'll put that up on the screen now. You can pause the video and have a look at that if you want to figure out, what percentages you might want to be aiming for. But this was quite nice because it has the potential to give you a lot of nice rewards. So you could get up to 7.5k GP from it, up to 3.7k feathers from it, up to 2.5k iron arrows, up to 843 chaos runes, up to 632 steel arrows, up to 421 death runes, which is crazy, up to 168 noted coal, up to 42 nature runes, and up to 46 noted mithril ore. So obviously, if you can complete that maze very quickly, you can get some really nice rewards from this. Especially in 2004scape now, if you offered me those drops now, I would be very happy with all of those, to be honest. So that's the maze random event. I think is going to be very, very popular. Really looking forward to that. You can get other items looted from the chests around the maze. I think the meta to do this event is to completely ignore the chests and just go to the center straight away. But if you were, if you did decide to open those chests along the way, you have a chance of getting some air runes, water runes, earth runes, fire runes, some bronze arrows, some iron arrows, and some attack, strength, and defense potions. So not really worth your time, but that's what you can get from those chests if you choose to loot them. The next random event as well that will be coming out in August 2004, these all came out at the same time in the same update, is the Mime random event. And obviously, most people probably know about this one, but if you don't know, you speak to the mysterious old man, he will teleport you to a stage next to a mime, and the mime will perform some emotes, and you have to copy the emotes that he does, and then you can get basically given parts of the mime outfit. That's basically all there is to it. I think it also gives you emotes. I'm not sure if the emotes were added later on, or if this was when the emotes just got like changed on the interface. But it definitely gives you the parts of the mime outfit. So for some fashionscape, maybe you want to do the mime, that might be pretty cool. And that is all of the random events that are going to be coming out in the 2004 version of this game. I'm going to go through now some of the random events that get added in 2005, just so we can talk about them a little bit. And, you know, if you're sitting here thinking, well, he's not mentioned that one that I remember, this will be why, because they're added a bit later on. So we'll start off with the 2005 random events that will get added. In July of 2005, Captain Arnav's chest was added. This is where it would pop up and you'd sort of have like the slot machine window, and you'd have to line up the 3 gold bowls or gold bars or whatever. And if you did that, you could either get some coins or a gold ring, gold necklace, or a gold bar. Not really worth doing, to be honest, but you know, there you go. That's one of them. And then there were a lot of random events all added in August of 2005. Like, there was just a huge push for them for some reason. I guess they just wanted to like mix things up a little bit. So in August 2005, we get the Freaky Forester event, where he tells you like to kill a pheasant with a certain number of feathers on its tail, and you can get the Lederhosen outfit from that. The Quizmaster also came out in August 2005, where he just like asks you like the odd one out questions. You have to pick the one that doesn't match, and from that you could get either 1,000 coins or a mystery box. In the mystery box, I believe you could get like a cabbage, a diamond, a bucket, a flyer, a steel plate body. I think you could also get like an old boot, a body rune, an onion, a mithril scimitar, a casket, and some nature runes. I think the ability to get clue scrolls from this was added a lot later on, so I don't think that will be in the game in 2005. I think it also has a chance of dropping something on the rare drop table as well, so you could maybe get that shield left half from a mystery box, which would be pretty crazy to see. After that, still in August 2005 though, was the Rick Turpentine random event. He would just spawn and you'd have to speak to him, and he would give you either a kebab, a spinach roll, or like some coins or an uncut gem. I think he could also give you tooth harp and loof harps of keys, and also a cosmic talisman. So pretty similar drops to like the casket basically from the mysterious old man. So yeah, that was Rick Turpentine in 2005, August. After that, there was, still in August, the Frog Prince and Frog Princess random event. Obviously, all these frogs would spawn. They'd ask you to kiss the prince or the princess, and they'd turn into a prince or a princess. And then you would get a frog token that you could take to, I think, Thalissa. And you could basically get either the princess outfit or the royal frog costume with the frog mask. That's basically all you could get from it. After that, moving on, the Surters. So the Surters are kind of interesting. They're kind of like a little Easter egg, kind of. So the Surters is the random event where you get to speak to either Niles, Miles, or Giles, and they'll basically like ask you to like identify whatever object they show you. And if you correctly identify them, they'll give you like some rewards. So they could give you some uncut gems or loop and tooth half of keys. If you choose wrong, you won't get a reward, and they'll just teleport you away. And basically, these are kind of like left over from RuneScape Classic. So in RuneScape Classic, you used to have to go to different NPCs all around the game to like note and unnote certain items. You couldn't just do it in a bank. And I think Niles, Miles, and Giles were 3 of these people that you had to run around the map and speak to. And so the Surters is obviously, Certs is short for certificates, which is basically like the banknotes. So that's kind of where they get their name from. And yeah, they're pretty easy to do. But there's, you know, a little bit of an interesting tidbit of lore for you there based on the Surters, Niles, Miles, and Giles. After that, there's an interesting one. This one was added in 2005 of August as well. This is going to be the Dr. Ford random event. But this was actually removed on the 28th of November 2005. So it wasn't in the game for very long, like less than a year. But basically what would happen is he would throw like either a chunk of wood or a rock at you, depending on if you were woodcutting or mining. And then he'd ask you to like identify a symbol of a hand. If you failed, he would teleport you to, I think, the church in Varrock. And if you answered correctly, you would just get given like fruit. So not the best rewards there. But there was also a bug. I think this is probably why it was removed. There was a bug, so sometimes you would still get teleported to the church, even if you did it successfully, which obviously would be very annoying to do. Like, no matter what, you just always get teleported. But yeah, that was the Dr. Ford random event. I think this is what the Dr. Harlow model was based off as well, actually. So Dr. Ford, we maybe might see for a few months in 2005, but it did get removed quite quickly. After that, though, the Jacqueline Hyde event, these are, again, still all in August 2005. There's a lot of them to go through. And he would just spawn and ask you for a specific herb. And if you gave him the herb he asked for, he would give you, like, the equivalent potion that herb makes as a reward. If you didn't have the herb, he would just give you the strength potion, I believe. That's basically all he did. So I guess might be a good way to, like, get certain potions. If you want to get some and you... I don't know, for whatever reason, you have the herbs, but you can't but you don't have the herb level to make the potions, maybe, then that might be a way to do so. After that, there was the Cap in Hand, the Lost Pirate random event, and he would just turn up with his crossbow, and he would just start attacking people, and then if you spoke to him while he was attacking someone, he would give you a small reward. I can't really find any information on what the reward was, but yeah, basically, if you spoke to him while he was attacking someone and stopped him attacking, then he'd give you a small reward, and then he'd, like, teleport away. So that was kind of interesting. The Lost and Found random event was also in August 2005. This is the one where it would teleport you into like a tiny little part of like the abyssal plane, and there would be like 4 levers in each direction, and one of them would look a little bit different than the others, and you just have to pull the right lever, and then it would teleport you back out to where you were again. And there was also the Evil Chicken in August 2005. A lot of them in August 2005. This... a lot of people probably remember this one, but it would just spawn and start attacking people. The level of it and its max hit would scale based on your combat level, and it would just drop like bones of raw chicken and a number of feathers. So probably not worth your time killing. You could probably just run away from it. But yeah, the Evil Chicken was very iconic. I remember seeing a lot of people dying to that back in the day, and I never killed it as a kid, and I always just thought, oh man, one day I will kill that Evil Chicken because I want to know what it drops. But the drops... not that great, it turns out. After that, though, but still in August 2005, was the Evil Bob random event. He would teleport you to Scape Rune, and you'd have to go fish the cooked fish and then use it on the uncooking pot to get a raw fish, and then feed it to Bob, who would fall asleep, and then you could get off the island, and he would give you some fishing or magic experience for completing it. So that was a pretty good one. And after that was the Pillory event, which would basically teleport you into one of the pillory cages, and you'd have to like match the keyhole with the right shaped key 3 times in a row, and then you would get rewarded. You would get either an uncut sapphire, uncut emerald, uncut ruby, uncut diamond, some coins, a cosmic talisman, or the tooth and loop half of keys. So that was pretty cool. There was also the Drill Demon event where you'd have to go and do the different exercises on the right mats, and he would give you the camouflage outfit. I think the camouflage outfit looked like very different back in the day. I'll see if I can find a picture of that and put it on screen for you. Very interesting one to do. But that wraps up all of the 2005 random events. I'm not going to go into too much detail for the rest of them, but I will just mention a few. So Prison Pete gets added January 2006. Sandwich Lady gets added January 2006. The Candlelight event gets added in February 2006 and removed in June 2006. A lot of people might not remember this one, but basically Pious Pete would spawn and take you to like a chapel, and you'd have to light a bunch of these candles, but you'd have to do it fast enough, otherwise like if some of them went out before you finished lighting them all, you'd have to start again, and it was just apparently very, very annoying to do, and the reward was like really bad. Like a few hundred coins, I think. And so they just removed it because everyone hated it. So we might see that for a little bit eventually in 2006. That could be interesting. Then there was the Gravedigger event in March 2006, the Evil Twin event in May 2006, the Pinball event in May 2006 as well, the Beekeeper event in July 2006, and then the Surprise Exam, which is a great one. I'm so sad we have to wait so long for this, The surprise exam didn't come out until July 2007, so you will not be able to get those experience tomes for a very long time, unfortunately. I will just mention as well, I did forget to say, the Drill Demon and the Pillory random events, they were actually added in October 2005, not August 2005 like all the other ones. So I just wanted to correct myself there. But yeah, guys, I think that's basically going to cover all of the random events. I didn't go into too much detail for the ones in 2006 because I feel like I've been rambling for a long, long time about all of these. That was all the random events that I could find. If you think that there's any that I've missed or I've got anything a little bit wrong, please do leave a comment in the comment section and I'll put a pinned comment with any corrections that need to be made. Thank you so much for all the support recently, guys. It's been crazy. We've just passed 1.3k subs, which is absolutely wild. So thank you for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, watching the streams, all that good stuff. I want to give a big, big shout out to the channel members that we've had recently. Big shout out to Vocova, Robin, Michael, Trey, Nexi, Karsten, and Kyra. You guys are awesome. If you want to tune into the live streams, I basically try and stream once every 2 days. So if you don't catch me live one evening, I'm probably going to be live the next day. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.